I gave birth to a very healthy baby in Central Hospital, 2008. I didn't actually see at a very early stage that Charlie is going to be deaf or couldn't hear or so. Everything was normal till maybe, let's say, around about 4 months. My mom is the one that noticed that if Charlie can hear, maybe it's a little bit, or she cannot hear at all. But we were not sure at that time. So I ignored her. We stayed and stayed and stayed, maybe till Charlie maybe 6-7 months, and then I could notice these things, when Charlie is sleeping, maybe a door bangs or a plate falls, she couldn't even wake up, or you come behind her, you even scare her. She was not scared, she would just turn and look at you and such things. I just thought maybe I'm the one who is not trying to accept whether there is a problem. So I took Charlie to the hospital. We were in the room there quite long, and she did all the tests and everything. She came closer and told me, no, this is Charlie's results. Charlie cannot hear at all, with arrows pointing down, meaning it's really at all she cannot hear. It was really hard, As a teenage mother, I was young, and I was asking, so Charlie would never say mommy or daddy or nothing? No, if a kid cannot hear, meaning she won't even talk also. I called CLaSH, Ms. Hazel, telling her all this and said, no, you must come visit us at our school. Bring all the doctor's cuts and everything and papers and everything. So we went there. Charlie was admitted. Charlie went to school at CLaSH. Immediately, just after a few months, going to the CLaSH kindergarten, things started to change. Things started to improve. Communication was studying, with all these simple things, with a yes, with a no, I want, I don't want, and all these things.
Joseph. Yes. J-O-S-E-F. Joseph. That's it. Sharifa, finger spell your name. Okay, that's it.
The CLaSH preschool and daycare unit is really a unique place in Namibia, and we are trying to approach the children with a combination of Montessori principles and this specialized early deaf education. We try and look at the children holistically so that we do not get stuck on cognitive development alone, but that we always take into consideration emotional and social well-being at the same time. So while we try and give children information and prepare them for school, we also work on their self-esteem, their confidence, their identity as little deaf persons. Communication is the key, because through communication you exchange. And deaf children need to have the same chance to express themselves, say how they feel or how they don't feel.
Shake your body, shake, shake your body, shake, shake your body, shake.
I am a teacher of the deaf. I show the children that I was also a child at the CLaSH unit, just as they are now. Some of the children are only 3 years old when they come to the CLaSH unit. They really don't know what is happening. They don't know where they are, they miss their families, and they cry a lot. We tell them not to worry, to stop crying. We give them hugs and encouragement. We also explain to them that they are deaf and that we can communicate through signs. Without sign language, your mind stays forever closed and you are sidelined. We want these children to open their eyes, to open their minds. They should learn to be independent, to go outside, to take a taxi, go shopping. And if they have to write down what they want, then they must be able to do that. This is what we teach at CLaSH. It makes the lives of the children much better.
Hearing loss in Namibia is caused by the usual factors like middle ear infections or a genetic disposition, but added is here in Namibia malaria and meningitis, also TB. It makes a huge difference whether you detect a hearing loss early or late, because as we now know, it's actually the first 1,000 days in the life of a child, that includes pregnancy, that makes all the difference in a child's life. Then you have a sensitive period for language development. You have sensitive periods for cognitive development. There are different sensitive periods, but they all happen before a child gets to school.
Before I came to CLaSH, I couldn't sign. My family was ill-treating me. They made me do housework and made me sleep a lot. They were really not very nice to me. I cried a lot and felt unhappy. I didn't have any friends. The hearing people always talked to each other and I felt left out. Life was really tough. My father was desperate, and when he heard about CLaSH, he seized the opportunity. I was so happy because immediately I realized that here the people do not speak but use their hands to communicate. At first, I couldn't understand what they were saying and got worried, but the teacher explained and started by showing me how to say hello. Wow, that put a smile on my face. So I learned to sign and my mind opened. Quickly, I progressed, which was a great relief to me. I could communicate. I marveled at the teacher. I learned to write. I started communicating with my family. I made new friends and was so proud. Sign language is beautiful. At the CLaSH unit, I made many friends.
When the children come to us, the biggest issue really is communication and an awareness on the side of the families. Because what parents realize first when their child is deaf is that they can't talk to them. There is no communication, and it is very difficult for parents to understand that this child cannot hear voices, cannot hear environmental noises. It means that child has to see, and the child has to feel the vibrations. We work with parents. We explain to them where does the hearing loss come from. We also explain to them what future chances are there for the children, what opportunities do they find, how can CLaSH, how can a hearing aid, how can a possible operation maybe assist the child. We try to give parents this information to, on the one side, raise their own awareness, but at the same time to empower them.
My father, he's the one who actually really made me really strong. So my father said, listen here, Charlie is normal. She has all the body parts. She's mentally normal. It's just that she cannot hear and talk. You understand? There is other kids that are there that are disabled, that will never walk or that will never see or whatsoever. This is nothing. If I hear that you cry anymore from here, you will just see what I will do. I will take Charlie away from you and you will see with what are you going to be left with. Then from there I went for sign language classes. I convinced myself that this is the only way how I'm going to communicate with Charlie for the rest of my life, so I'm going to do sign language classes. CLaSH really made everything different. You know, it gave Charlie that foundation, as I said. That's the very start of everything of Charlie. It was a different environment for Charlie. It came to a point that Charlie could communicate, you know, with different people, with different things, all these things. Because I used to think, how would you even teach a deaf kid? You know, this thing, I think it's really difficult, but these people, they know it. They are really doing an outstanding job.
Looking back, I can say we have assisted thousands of children. We have trained hundreds of people. We have given out hundreds of hearing aids. And we have set examples. Of course, I'm proud. I think it's quite an achievement for such a small organization and such a donor-dependent organization to have set standards in deaf education, particularly early deaf education in Namibia. We are working towards making the CLaSH unit a center of excellence. We would like very much to train more people. We would like to see the CLaSH preschool unit multiplied. We would like to see it being copied in the regions of the country. And we would really like to see the deaf schools or the deaf units realize the importance of the early intervention so that they can understand that it's not early enough if children come to the school to go into grade 1. We need to address families, we need to address these deaf children earlier than that. We would really, really like to see the deaf children, the deaf adults being on par with their hearing counterparts. Because what we always say, a deaf person can do anything but hear. So deaf people should have access to not only the services, but they should also have access to the professions, to the workforce. They could become lawyers, doctors, teachers, of course. And this would be my vision, that eventually Namibia can give deaf people all the opportunities that they deserve.
I've got really high hopes with Charlie. Charlie is so intelligent. She will even tell you herself that I'm clever. I'm like, yes, you're very clever. Very, very clever. So I've noticed with Charlie, with her extramural activities, she likes swimming. She likes swimming and she likes dancing. I don't know why. She cannot hear, but the dancing is so good. If she could hear, she would have been the best, I think so. To all the parents that are having kids like Charlie or kids with any other disabilities or whatsoever, I'm really, really encouraging you that don't keep these kids at home. Don't send them away to the farm or to the north or whatsoever. Don't keep them away from this nice education, you understand? They need to be educated. They need to have a normal life and feel normal amongst normal kids also. They are normal. It's just the hearing and the talking.
Please support CLaSH.